Welcome back. This is MarketAbilities podcast,
Hello.
episode 31.
Oh, I thought you were asking me. I couldn't have told
Well,
you.
no, and it's like we just did the other one, so I was like, man, it's episode.
Time
what is
flies
it?
when you're
31.
having fun, right?
I know. Can you believe it's 31?
I know. It seems like just yesterday we were getting this place painted and getting the TV.
You weren't even here for that. Get out of here.
Well, I love it so much. It feels like I have been, you know?
Right. Yeah. You're emotionally invested.
I'm emotionally, psychologically, I live here.
Since when? Did the house fall through?
I shouldn't have told you that. But, yeah. So when it comes to content, which is what the last, how many episodes?
So last episode, we talked about short form video content.
Yes.
And kind of touched base on how important and the reach that it could possibly have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're talking about, getting really specific with your content, really targeting your audience, maybe even doing something a little out of the ordinary to capture people's, attention.
Yeah, I think when you have a business or maybe you are your own business, you have to try and appeal to as many different people as you can, while also kind of maintaining that regard that you're not going to appeal to everybody. So
Right.
you have to throw a wide net and kind of you kind of, again, hope for the best, but you kind of have to expect the worst. That way it just doesn't beat you down when you're making these types of videos. But the way that you can do that is just by thinking outside the box. Like I come back to myself as like a photographer and a videographer. It's hard to get people to be interested in photography that aren't interested in photography already. Right, yeah. You're going to show someone a video like that and they might not give too much of a crap.
Yeah.
But you find a way to make it interesting. Like I did a photo shoot with like a burning chair. Now, the photo itself and like talking to someone through the photo might not be that interesting.
Right.
But the video starting off with a burning chair.
Yeah, people are like, what the heck's going on?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's all about, all right, how can I grab these people's attention? How can I maintain their attention? And then how, at the end of it, can I give them something valuable? So in my instance, it's
good.
All right, attention grabbing, there's a burning chair. Why is this chair burning? All right, moving on, showing you a little bit of the process. Now there's a camera involved. Okay, this is a photo shoot. And then at the very end, the final photo is revealed. Hopefully to the excitement of the viewer.
Right.
And they have at that point gotten something out of it. So if you can get their attention, maintain it, and then leave them with something that can inspire them, or just even if they just think that it's cool, I think that's so much better than some other forms of advertising that are a little bit less personal. But again, it depends on your business and what's best for you.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on casting the wide net, right? Yeah. But I think you do that up front. And then you kind of gather the data and you're like, okay, who bit, and who fell into the net, right? And then you can kind of go back, and then when you cast out a new net, you can cast out a much more targeted net.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You learn from the previous one, exactly. Yeah. And so it's just evolving what works, what doesn't work, and then what do I like? What do I like making?
Right.
And so just taking that all into consideration, and then it really is just trial and error. You really just got to figure it out. But hopefully before you know it, you'll be making stuff that you want to watch. Because at the end of the day, I think that's the content that people should make. You should be putting the stuff into the world that you think there isn't enough of, or the stuff that you would be willing to sit down and watch yourself. So if you can stand behind your own content and be proud of it, then I think putting it out, there's no better way to do it.
Well, and it's just going to be, I always think that like the content's going to be better if you enjoy making it too.
Yeah. They can feel that energy. If you are happy with something and you're proud of it and you had a good time making it, I completely believe that is something that the audience can pick up on. If you're on a set and no one's having a good time, or by set could mean there's 20 people or there's you and there's a tripod.
Yeah, right.
So it could be, it really is just about your mindset going into it and just keeping in mind that this is going to be seen by people, and they're smarter than you think. Like, you know what I mean? They're going to pick up on the minute stuff that maybe you hope that they overlook even. So it's so important.
Yeah, exactly. And how important is, showing people like the behind the scenes?
The behind the scenes is great because when you are trying to get someone interested in the product itself, sometimes you have to show them what happens before the product is made.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, I always think back to like the TV shows on the YouTube channels, like how it's made and whatnot. There's a reason why people love the behind the scenes, and it's because once you are done with the product, and you can market the product, but you can market every step of the product. You can market the creation, the conception of the idea.
That's good. Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, and so after the product is done, then of course you can market the product, but then you can kind of think, all right, what happens down the road? Like, again, going back to photography and videography, showing behind the scenes is a great way to get people interested, especially if the final photo is somewhat kind of cumbersome to kind of wrap your head around.
Right, yeah.
So, but it doesn't have to be that in that way too. So if you have a product that you think is just even remote, well, obviously it's your product, so you think it's interesting.
Yeah.
But just showing people that you care about it, and showing people that you put that thought into making it this way.
Yeah.
It goes such a long way, and people find it really fascinating, especially when they can, again, tying it back, pick up on how much you care about it.
Right. Yeah, because if you don't care, it's gonna show, because you're gonna be lazy in some of your creation, or your whatever, your technique or your planning or whatever it is, and people don't care. That's the other thing. Going back to the last episode, I pointed out that like our human attention span in the last 20 years has shrunk significantly. It used to be somewhere around 14 seconds, and now it's at like 8 seconds, and maybe even less for a lot of people.
I've heard 7. So
right?
I think 8 might even be given.
Yeah, like
a little
if
too
you
much
have
credit,
8, then you're probably just some like elite scholar at some college, right?
If you have an 8-second attention span, you have a doctorate, and you might be a philosopher.
Yeah. So, but going back to the behind the scenes thing, I think it's really cool because, like, for me, a lot of people love music, right?
Yeah.
And they are, like when the new album comes out, new Taylor Swift album, right?
Yeah.
All the girls go crazy. Some guys, no judgment. Some judgment. It's fine. I like her too. It's great. Anyways, everybody's like, oh yeah, they're loving it, enjoying it. But like as an audio engineer and music producer, I want to see how they created all that.
Exactly.
And so I love that type of stuff. Whenever I'm on, like, my YouTube channel is so funny because it's tailored to you, right?
Yeah.
And so it comes up and it's like, hey, this is how we recorded the drums for this song. And I love that kind of stuff. And I think, again, goes back to your target market, like the average girl listener who is an accountant at a bank or something.
Yeah.
She doesn't care how the drums were recorded
or what reverb you put on
right. She cares that the lyrics are about her ex-boyfriend.
She cares that there's something for her to project onto a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But I am positive there are some behind the scenes things that she likes.
Yeah, well, immediately you think of like TikTok, and you think of like all those short form content, and so and tying off with the example that you've given me, like music, I immediately think maybe I do care about music. I play multiple instruments.
Yeah.
But I would not say that I'm a musician.
Right.
And I would not. But I would say I have huge respect for it, and I follow it, and it's a passion of mine. But it's definitely more of a hobby.
Yeah.
But when I think about like the music type of content, for some reason I immediately am going to Charlie Puth, like Charlie Puth on TikTok.
He's crazy.
Yeah, dude, he's weird, but like it comes down to that type of behind the scenes marketing. He's marketing his music by showing you his skill. So if you don't know Charlie Puth, talented singer.
Incredible musician.
You probably know one of his songs. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He also has perfect pitch, which means that he can hear a note and immediately
Super
identify it.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly. It's almost a superpower, and like probably a curse a little bit for him.
Probably.
But the result of it is that all of a sudden, these people that might not be interested in maybe how you recorded the audio, maybe not be interested in like what editing software you used, but now they're interested in this little talent that you have. Okay, so you have perfect pitch. What can you do with that? And so not everyone has perfect pitch, but everybody has something about them.
Oh yeah,
that I think is unique that they can demonstrate and use to like market themselves. Like he through his music, he's marketing himself and vice versa. And so I think there's so many ways to do that. And so tying it back to like marketing every part of the song, he's marketing himself while also marketing not the creation of the song, not the recording of the song, not him writing the song, but him like hearing the song for the first time in his head. So that's kind of how far back into the process he's like marketing his music. And so I think if you could look at your product or your like what you can provide and just look at the entire pipeline, that is every inch of that can be content, can be educational, can be informative, humorous. Like it depends on your brand, your vibe and all that. But you really have to think outside the box, and you have so much more opportunity for moments to share and market yourself than most people really think that they do.
Yeah. And I think another thing to point out is like no one does like something the same way, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's like we both edit videos, but I bet you the way we get to the end of the editing the video is completely different.
Yeah, and not only that, but I bet the way that we like set up the timeline.
Exactly.
In the way that we have maybe even the editing software like laid out.
Right.
So it's so it sounds cliche, but everybody is so different, and I think everybody has such a different voice, and I think there's room for everybody in this choir. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're always ahead of someone, right? And that's not to say like it's competition. You should be better than someone, but there's always someone looking to learn.
Yeah.
From what you're doing, and so. Posting some of that content of that, like behind the scenes, like, hey, this is the nitty gritty, this is how it happens in the background. That's awesome. Cause like that's why I follow these audio engineers, because I'm like, I want to learn your process and how you got there. And if I like it, then I'll, adapt it or adopt it, not adapt it, adopt it.
Either.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then hopefully then learn from it and like take your own spin on it and like find your own way.
Exactly. And then you create, all these things that you learned, but you still have your own flavor to it. It's not like you can't directly carbon copy someone, because you are not that person. So you already have this own spin on it. And then if you start posting that, then it's like unique.
Yeah.
Because there's no one like you, right? So then people will start looking to you because it's unique.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I think that ties back into kind of the content, the marketing side of it, where it comes from. It feels like a ripple effect. It feels like a reverberation, where someone does something and then someone does something else. Like like on my TikTok, a lot of the videos that I've done that have done the best have been inspirations from other videos or other it's weird. I'm so like going kind of back to music. It's weird how I love being inspired by music, and TikTok audios are no different.
Right.
And so there's so many photo shoots that I did that were inspired by like a viral TikTok song. And so
that's cool.
And by viral TikTok song, it could be like one of them was like a 70s country song that I just hadn't heard in a while. But I heard it in a new context and made me think, how can I use this song, and how can I capture the vibe of the song into this photo? And so
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think just like finding trends, and like people like to talk about like hopping on trends and like
right.
You really need to keep your finger on the pulse. But I think just being authentic, and if you're a little late to a trend, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna hurt you. I think the big thing is you can count views and analytics, but just be proud of the content.
Yeah.
And just because if you're not proud of it, why would you expect anyone else to watch it?
Well, and you're not really truly being yourself, I think, if you're not proud of it.
Yeah.
Because if you're posting something, you're like, man, I don't know how I feel about this, and it's probably because that wasn't you.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
There was like a phase of me making TikToks where I was partnered with TikTok, and so I contractually had to make 5 TikToks a week.
Wow.
By TikTok, because I signed it. And so I was like, okay. And so I had to make like educational, and educational, thankfully, very broad term.
Right.
I could tell a story, or I could literally show you what buttons to push to do something, you know?
Right.
And so it was fun, and at first, like, there was a lot of legroom, but I was doing this for way too long. So it quickly started to like burn out, and I started watching other people that I followed, and maybe other mutual friends that were doing similar things. Right. And I saw the content that they were making, and it was so like vloggy, and it was so like hypey, and it was so like, hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the vlog, and today I'm going to be showing you.
So fake.
Yeah, and so I really tried, and I really tried that, and I felt disgusting. Like it felt like I felt like I had to wash it off. Like
take a shower.
Yeah, I really hated it, and it took like I think I stopped for a little bit entirely.
Wow.
Because I didn't like it. Felt so inauthentic, and I felt like people were picking up on it, and I was like. And the idea of people that knew me in real life seeing it and just being like, "What in the world is this?"
Yeah, it's
doing?
awkward.
Yeah, and so I finally was able to kind of get to a point where I had found an avenue where I was making content, and it had me, because that I think that's where I got a little bit nervous, was that like I kind of wanted to hide behind like a brand name a little bit, and the moment your face kind of gets into it, stops being like that.
Right.
And so it's weird because it's not like me dancing; it's like my work on TikTok,
Right.
and so it's like a lot of me hidden behind kind of like not my name, you know?
Yeah. Right.
And so. But eventually I was able to kind of find an avenue where I could incorporate elements of me. I could showcase what I wanted to showcase, and it didn't feel like I was selling out, and it didn't feel like I was like putting on like a mask, that it was just too just fake and just like surface level. You know what I mean? And that's the type of stuff where I was looking at the trends. You know, I was looking at what was working, and everything said that this should work, but it didn't feel like it worked to me. And so it didn't. And so this podcast kind of has a new theme of like pride in your work.
It does.
But I think that's kind of an important note, because I was not proud of my work, and I was not proud of myself for making it. Right. And so that was catastrophic for the creative like inspiration that was going on.
Yeah, because you almost start to this work that you're not really proud of, or not really happy with, you start to identify with it. Yeah. And that's not who you are, right? But you're just making that work. But I think a lot of things that we do, especially in the US workforce, it's like your job is your identity, and that's like that's not even close to true, right?
Yeah, that really is it. Is that for a while excuse me, for a while, like, thank you, it felt like with TikTok, there was like a high score. It was like a video game. It was like, all right, how high can these numbers go? And then you get some negative comments, and it's like, okay, like more it's overwhelmingly positive, but like the negative ones, they kind of stick in your mind a little bit.
Isn't that funny how like you'll have like 10 20 positive comments to one negative comment?
And the negative comment could literally be like a 13-year-old that was like whose mom just yelled at them, and they're like having a bad day. And so like it's literally like an anonymous exactly. So it's like an anonymous person that you're projecting your own like insecurities on a little bit. Right. And so like what might seem pretty calm to them seems like pretty personal to you. And so I think and so I like it started just like that, and it was like, all right, how high can these numbers go? And you meet more of those people that are kind of coming at you from different ways, and you post one too many things that gets taken in like wrong context, because as soon as it's out of there, like, man, it's done. They will look at it and they will judge it, and they'll move on, and they're not going to swipe over, and they're not going to investigate further, right? Because it's like that type of content. But sorry, we're getting like introspective here.
No, you're good, man.
But and so it was kind of like that, and then after a while, but that was because I was trying to make my brand me, and that was where I think the separation kind of got lost. Was that it was I wasn't like selling services as much as I was selling just the idea of like having like these numbers. Yeah, and so that's where that kind of help me out.
Inauthenticity, is that? Yes.
Yeah, I think that's where that really started to kind of like come up a little bit more.
Yeah. And you kind of get like that imposter syndrome. Where you're like, you're an imposter in your own world, right?
Yeah, and I think that can all just be prevented by not doing what I did, and just like kind of sticking on that path and trying to stay proud and stay. People call it content, but it's art.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
And so the moment you start thinking about it as something that kind of moves down the conveyor belt, you can kind of, it feels less personal. And so I think just, it's your baby, you got to take care of it. You got to give it its attention and its love. And
so coming off of that, and I'm going to bring it around. Yeah. Because we did get sidetracked, but I think it's good. I think everybody needs to hear this. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's really important to be authentic with your content, because there's been too many times where...
And it's weird when you can tell, because like bigger influencers, they'll have that happen on massive scales. Yeah. And you'll see that from a distance and just be like, wow, I'm glad that's not me.
Yeah, exactly. Because you'll get, caught or found out or whatever however you want to phrase it, that like, you're not actually that person. And that just sucks, because people get dependent on that. They're like, oh man, like this person's so cool, and I'm following them because of these reasons, but they're not actually that person.
Yeah, they got a day job.
Maybe. And like, what's the point of doing that? It's just like an ego, right? Yeah. And ego's dumb. So dumb.
It really is. And that kind of is like what you kind of had, in my case, that's kind of what I had to kind of kill off a little bit, was like treating the numbers like they have any value on me.
Yeah. Oh man.
And that's kind of like, that's where it kind of comes back in, is like, all right, these are numbers. These are not people's genuine opinions on me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like this isn't my human score.
This is, exactly. This is not what's going to stop me from getting into the pearly gates or whatever.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. I want to bring it back around now though. We go on forever.
Full circle.
Okay. So, really planning out your content. Yeah. And writing it down and being like, is this what I want? Yeah. Is this what I want to do? Is this the type of content I want to produce. This is the type of video that I want. Will be a game changer, because if you just dive into something, kind of with zero plan, then you kind of end up just making something that you hope looks good or feels good, which can be good. Like there's always room for the spontaneous, right? But yeah, I would say always bringing it, back around to the planning stage is going to be a game changer for you loving what you're doing, and then also, but still leaving that room to change, right?
Yeah, that spontaneity is really important, but also you don't want to get overwhelmed, and so having these things planned out and having these things kind of thought through is really important. And it's also when you think about how many like posts like one needs to make to kind of do well. It's also important to kind of make sure that those feel like they're coming from the same voice. And so keeping that streamlined also. So it's not like you said with that planning, and just making sure down the road that these ideas are still following through, and making sure that you're starting off on the right foot. So if you do need to pivot later down the road, you won't have to pivot as much, hopefully.
Right. And the reason that you want to do videos is because people consume videos. Like, so constantly.
Have you heard these stats?
Yes.
Pull them up.
I'm about to pull them up. Okay. So, more than 70% of Gen Zers spend at least 3 hours a day watching online videos. 3 hours.
Jeez.
I mean, I guess I used to play video games for like 3 or 4 hours a day. So
I think I also watched TV for a while.
Right. So I guess it's it's really not that much different. It's just here the whole time.
Yeah,
right?
It's just a little closer.
Yeah, and it's at the dinner table, right? And
it's while your
like
parents are trying to tell you how much they love you.
Right. Yeah. And then it says 35 to 50-year-olds are watching online videos for an hour and a half.
Wow.
Every day. Which I
feel like that's low.
I feel like that is a little low for some people. I guess it just depends.
I as someone whose dad found out about YouTube Shorts, I think that
number's
gotta be higher.
Okay, so now getting into my parents' age range.
Yeah.
50 to 65, their weekly consumption is more than 45 minutes. And let me tell you, I feel like that's super low.
I feel like that's
because my mom is like this on her phone or her iPad all the time. And no judgment, I mean, she's retired. She can do whatever the frick she wants, right?
She worked for 2
but she's liking all my Instagram photos
and
growing
fan.
media in the church and everything. Like, my mom's hilarious. But I swear, but then I look at my dad, and I'm lucky to spend 20 minutes on his phone for a day, right?
If you text him,
and if he does, it's like a real estate phone call or something, right? So I guess maybe if you equal it out, maybe it's close to 45 minutes. I don't know,
but I think that really just kind of opens your eyes to how many people these days are getting entertainment, news, humor, what have you, whatever type of content, they're getting it online.
Yeah, and they're getting it straight from their phone.
Yeah, that's
and going back to the attention span thing, like, you got to be, short and, upfront with your message.
Yeah.
I as much as I want you to be authentic, if you need to sell a product, if you need to make money, off of your job, get to the point. Like, people aren't going to sit around and wait. They're not going to sit there and wait 10 seconds for you to finally dive into what you're talking about.
You have like a second and a half to get their attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Before they swipe.
Wait, why we're dropping more now on the attention span?
I made that one up.
Oh, okay, good.
It's probably less.
Oh gosh.
But in terms of like getting them to stay, like if you have a video that gets them to stay, then they do. But like it really comes down to treat it like your high school teacher explained every essay you had to write.
Right.
You need that big opening.
Yeah.
You need that attention grabber statement.
Yep. The attention grabber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think just keeping that in mind with everything else, and geez, you'll be set.
Yeah, I can't imagine if you're authentic, if you're creating good quality content, right? And you've kind of, shrunk down and started to target who you want to, see your content and hopefully buy whatever service you're selling. Or maybe you're just making content to make content, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully by then, you're going to be taken off.
Yeah. And
you know what I mean? Especially if you're consistently putting it out.
Yeah. If you care about it and you're consistent and it's just stuff that you're proud of and stuff that you would want to watch.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there with your same interest.
Yeah.
And again, just like rattling off these like age ranges that are watching these online videos,
It's crazy.
There's so many people that you might not even know is in your demographic.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you will not know until you can get them to watch that first.
Yeah, to put the videos out.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get it in front of them, and they're out there, and we can help you find them.
Yeah. So if you guys need help making content, we're here. Growing Media, growingmediamarketing.com. We'll take care of you.
Oh, yeah. Specifically me and Lucas, but also...
I mean, there's like 8 other people, but they're cool, but
we'll treat you right.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to end the podcast there. Thank you, guys.
Take it easy.